day. I could fall tomorrow. In fact, as I was praying about this talk yesterday on my bed, I was like, the temptation came to me yesterday. You got wireless here. And I knew it was from the devil. I told him to go to hell. And I clutched my rosary and I prayed to Our Lady, But that's very rare that I get tempted anymore. And what I've found out is the more you feed this addiction, the more you'll be a slave to it. And the more you kind of break free from it, the less you'll be tempted. What I didn't realize was how much pornography affected the way I looked at women. And you might be sitting here and you might not know that either. But if you get married one day, you will discover how much it has messed you up. And I don't say that to disappoint you. I say that so you know that there's healing, but to be real, what does pornography teach a guy to think about women? Let's have a look at it. Well, it says that women should be physically flawless, constantly sexually available, and, a woman is worth as much as the lust she generates in me. Right? Where does that put your future wife one day? Where does that put your future daughter one day if she's going to be marrying one of these men? This is why pornography is the perfect way to shoot your future marriage in its head. The perfect way. Absolutely. And I saw this sticker once. I was at Taekwondo, and there was like this big basketball ring. We were in a big gymnasium. And I was like, what's that sticker? So I ripped it down. It was this little circle, and it was like this hideous beast. And like a werewolf thing. And around it, this is what it said. Next time you're on the prowl, take a condom. Like, what is our culture saying to us here? It's saying that we are predators, women are prey, sexual conquests to be had, and that really determines our manhood, right? Holy moly. And we know in the deep depths of our heart that's not what we're created for. We know we are created to fight for the dignity of women. All right. What I would like to do is just go through some of the lies that we believe and the excuses that we tell ourselves. And to do that, I've got these balloons up here. And I think that each of these balloons kind of could represent a lie. And then I'll give you the reality. So, maybe these aren't some of the lies you tell yourself, but they probably are. First one, boys will be boys. Boys will be boys? Yeah, boys will be boys, but men will be men. Which camp do you wish to reside in, brothers? Boys will be boys, but men will be men, okay? It says in 1 Corinthians 13:11, when I was a boy, I thought like a boy. Now I'm a man, I live as a man. Say it with me. When I was a boy, I thought as a boy. Now I'm a man, I live as a man. And this whole idea, usually when this is said, it means that men are weak, they can't control themselves. This idea that being masculine is somehow synonymous with weakness. What a joke, right? And there's nothing really that's quite more, if it wasn't so tragic, it would be funny that they call these places adult or gentleman's club. Let me ask you a question. Maybe you can tell me because I can't find the answer here. Tell me any other activity in life where a man needs a big frigging neon sign to convince him that he is one. Oh, says adult, so, I'm an adult, so gentleman, okay. Usually actions speak for themselves, right? But this is what it says to me. No matter how far we've fallen, we all wish to identify with what is truly masculine. Another thing you'll notice is when you walk past these smutty bookstores, they'll have the windows boarded up. That's not just to save the public, just to kind of help them from being scandalized, help the children not to be exposed to it. It is also that, but the other reason, these men do not want you knowing, and their wives knowing sometimes, and their co-workers knowing what they're doing in there. So clearly there's a problem, right? Like no man wants to be, hi Wendy. We get that. Secondly, sex is natural. Yeah, sex is natural. Absolutely. Watching it isn't. I'll prove this to you. I won't prove it to you, but I'll help you see this, right? I want you to creep up to your next door neighbour's house around 9 p.m. Peer into the master bedroom, okay? And when he comes to you with a shotgun, you can explain to him that, hey, sex is natural, okay? Let me tell you a few other things that are natural. Eating is natural. Sleeping is natural, right? But you're not going to sleep all day, stuff yourself with like Oreos and then go into work and you got crumbs all over your face down here, you've come in to work. No, like, yeah, it's natural, but it needs to be used in accordance to God's will. Okay, the third lie. Not masturbating is actually unhealthy. This is not only, this is biologically and scientifically untrue, okay? Now, maybe you don't know that because I didn't know that. I heard that from a teacher, that not masturbating is actually unhealthy for you. Well, the good news is that male's body produces sperm on a need-to basis, okay? So a married man like myself will produce more sperm because more sperm is needed. A man who is chaste or a man who is celibate, like a priest, it won't produce as much sperm because not much sperm is needed, okay? Now, a way that the body deals with this sometimes is by a release, and that is often known as a wet dream or a nocturnal emission, okay? Nothing to feel guilty about that. That's simply the body taking care of it on its own. And here's the other thing. I mean, we say not masturbating's unhealthy. It is so unhealthy to masturbate. Because if you never learn how to love properly and you train yourself to think that you need gratification as soon as you need it, you know what I mean? Then you're going to go into your honeymoon suite, or your wedding, or your marriage, and you are going to use your wife's body to masturbate in. And she's going to know the difference. She's going to know the difference. I hate to be that blunt, but sometimes it takes that to get it through to us. Me too. Okay, what else we got here? Everything in moderation. You know how people say that? Everything's okay in moderation. Well, I can think of a few things that aren't. Suicide, racism, prejudice against homosexuals. You can put it how you want, but not all things are okay in moderation, okay? Alcohol is a good thing. God created alcohol, and so it's a blessing when it's used in accordance with his will, okay? But in pornography, someone is always being exploited, and that's why it is always wrong. Okay, what else we got? I'm just appreciating the beauty of womanhood. All right. Now, this is something I told myself. Hey, I'm just appreciating the beauty of woman. And like I said before, a guy who looks at the porn, I mean, she may as well be dead for all he's concerned because he's divorced the heart and the mind from the body. And again, I'm going to be really blunt here, so forgive me if this isn't appropriate to say, but I mean, it's just as disturbed to say that as a pedophile. It's saying I'm just appreciating the beauty of childhood. It improves marriages. I hear that today, if you go into a therapist because you're in a marriage and you want to kind of help out your marriage, they'll say, well, watch a sex video. I mean, these images, if you ask me, pornography trains a man in boredom. We go looking for excitement, but we get bored. I mean, how long do you look at the image? 10 seconds? A minute? And then you flick to the next fantasy. Okay, next. We're training ourselves in boredom, and then we go into marriage and we somehow think that our wife is going to keep our attention. I knew a guy, his name was, well, it doesn't matter what his name was, but back home, and it was my friend's brother, and he had a stash of porn bigger than me. Would often go into the shed and steal these magazines and run away. And, I thought it was cool, but this guy went into marriage and it ended as quickly as it began because he just transferred the lusts onto her. He used her body to masturbate, just ruined it, okay? That's all I have. I'm sure there's more. Can you think of any other lies we tell ourselves? Be real. Don't say what other people might get lied to about. What do you use? What gets said to you in time of temptation? Doesn't affect anybody else. Doesn't affect anybody else, okay? Exactly. That's a lie we tell ourselves, hey? It's like it's not hurting anybody. I mean, this is just something I'm doing in the privacy of my home. Have you ever heard of the chemical called oxytocin? You basically, in your brain, for men, whenever you have sex, your brain releases oxytocin to bond you with your wife. With women, it happens 3 times. It's when they